The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that's doomed.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection to Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Tuesday, the 28th day of April, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. How's everyone feeling today? It is, someone said on the show in the audience one day, Terrific Tuesday. I like that. It's Terrific Tuesday. We're going to have some fun today. How's everyone feeling? I went to bed pretty late by my standards last night. I was up, doing some reading and preparing for today's show. And then up pops TNN with a story. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to discuss it today. Yep. Yes, we are. But anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome our friends from SCARS. Yes, Debbie Ray Rivers and Brenda Lee White are back, and we're going to be discussing the importance of teaching boundaries early, folks, preventing harm before it starts. Looking forward to this conversation. Always helpful, always educational, always engaging, and the wealth of information that these ladies provide is so important to the well-being of young people in our community. The daily play is going to be a remember when. Pretty easy one if you know anything about Bermuda history. And audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Question of the morning. What am I talking about, huh? What are your thoughts on Curtis Dickinson challenging for PLP leadership? Oh boy. Yes, last night TNN gave it to us. Yep. Political development unfolding that really could shape the future of the country. And it's happening inside the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party, folks. That's right. Curtis Dickinson has officially thrown his hat in the ring for the leadership of the PLP. And just like that, what was already, going to be an interesting race, despite it just being Jason Hayward who put his name out there, it just got a whole lot more interesting and serious. Now, it's shaping up to be a contest between both of these individuals, the former finance minister, Curtis Dickinson, and the current minister of economy and labor, Jason Hayward. Now, these are two completely different profiles, right? Two very different styles and potentially differing visions for the party. But we must remember, this is not Curtis Dickinson's first attempt. Back in 2022, he challenged Premier David Burt and lost. But what's different this time? Because while Mr. Dickinson has often been seen as someone with strong public support, that doesn't necessarily translate inside the party. And that's the key point here. The public does not decide this. PLP delegates do. And inside party politics, relationships matter. Loyalty matters. Ground game matters. So the real question becomes, has Curtis Dickinson done enough to convince delegates that he's no longer an outsider, but the right man to lead from within? That's been one of the criticisms from some in the party, that despite his credentials and his experience, he hasn't always been seen as fully embedded in the party machinery. Meanwhile, Jason Hayward represents continuity, internal structure, and a candidate already positioned within the current leadership framework. It kind of isn't a race about ideas. It's really about influence, alignment, and who the party believes can carry it forward. And with the delegates conference set for October, there's actually still time for strategies to shift, alliances to form, and possibly even more names to enter the race. I think the question today is necessary. And it's a question that Mr. Dickinson should really answer as well. Has Curtis Dickinson done enough to win over the PLP? Not the public, but the party. And what does this leadership race tell us about the PLP and Bermuda? Where will we be heading next? Give it some thought. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and have a discussion.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
All righty, folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. You heard the question. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Curtis Dickinson challenging PLP leadership? What are your thoughts on it? And also, do you think Curtis Dickinson can beat Jason Hayward? Do you think he can beat him? Yes or no? Let's go a bit deeper because I want to just give a timeline. So remember, Zandy Silva on a podcast, he had mentioned that he was entering the race for leadership. Once Jason Hayward declared his interest or intent in February at the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party Drum Majors Awards, Zandy Silva stepped back, said he will not be running for party leadership. People in the public have been asking, will Curtis Dickinson enter? Will Curtis Dickinson enter? Well, the question has been answered. According to TNN, he officially entered the leadership race last evening. Things to know, the delegates conference will be in October. So there's still a long way to go. Now, again, things to remember. This is not Curtis Dickinson's first time at this. He challenged Premier Burt in 2022. He's seen by many in the general public as a strong candidate. The question is, has he built enough internal support? Now, there's an insider versus outsider dynamic. Dickinson perceived outsider by some in the PLP. Hayward seems to be embedded within party structure. The public versus party support thing, public opinion, delegates' votes, leadership decided internally, fortunately or unfortunately. What delegates will consider? This is important. They're the voters. Loyalty to party, vision for future, ability to unify, electability. Those are some key things, right? And what's at stake with this leadership challenge? The direction of the PLP is important to those delegates, right? Potential future leadership of Bermuda and internal party dynamics. Now, let me be clear, and I want to say this, and I'm going to try to be as neutral as I can in having this discussion this morning. And if you've ever been a PLP delegate in the audience, I'm sure you can relate to some of the things that I will probably say and share. If you remember back in 2010, Dr. Ewart Brown, it was known for a time that he said he would only serve one term as premier, meaning that his term would come to an end in 2010. During his entire premiership, the general public was calling for Paula Cox to be the leader, right? Upon Dr. Ewart Brown's departure, Paula Cox became the premier. And 2 years later, the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party lost the general election. I am not saying that Curtis Dickinson and Paula Cox will have the same fate or are the same people. But I'm trying to give context as to why delegates and people within the party will do what they believe is best for the party versus what the general public want. The general public wanted Paula Cox. It didn't work out for the party. The general public wants Curtis Dickinson. Party delegates may feel like, nope, we did that before and it didn't work out for us. So context is important, folks. All right? There are some similarities with Dickinson and Cox. Both well-respected in business spaces, right? Both former finance ministers. So, both don't seem as personable as what would be seen as predecessors of Dr. Ewart Brown or David Burt. That's not my words. That's just what people say. Now, to be fair, I think it would be unfair to put Curtis Dickinson or look at that and not give him an opportunity. I think that people should be judged based on their own abilities or capabilities. I think that when you're talking about politics, it's so much more than one skill. Yes, you need to have people skills. You need to be engaging. Or drink a lot of alcohol and let it impair you to the point you appear engaging. And I'm joking, but I'm serious. Because part of being in politics, this may sound crazy, but it's almost an acting job at times. But what are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Dickinson challenging for PLP leadership? And also, here's your poll for the morning. 1 for Curtis Dickinson, 2 for Jason Haywood, and 3 for someone else. Who would you choose as the next leader of the PLP? Let's go to the audience, see what you all are saying. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, I think Curtis Dickinson will be the best choice. Okay, why? Why do you think Dickinson will be the best choice? We've got Sean Smith says, okay, everybody who supports Curtis join the PLP just to vote him in as the leader. I'm not quite sure it'll be that easy. I'm not quite sure it would be that easy. Toledo Brary says, do you want something different or do you want the status quo? Well, that's subjective, right? Because some will say, general public, that Curtis Dickinson represents something different, right? Whereas some in the PLP may think he represents the status quo, business people. Whereas some in the party will feel like Jason Hayward represents something different. Being a union leader, right, and closer to the ground, versus the general public may think he'll be more of the same. David Burt, party first, continuity thing, right? Subjective. But what are your thoughts, audience? Curtis Dickinson has thrown his hat in the ring. He will be challenging Jason Hayward for the leadership of the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. What are your thoughts? And also, 1 for Curtis Dickinson, 2 for Jason Hayward, and 3 for someone else. Who would you choose as the next leader of the PLP? Who would you choose? Who would your money be on? Who do you think makes the most sense as the next PLP leader if you had a vote? We've got Cameron Fox says, 2 great men, but if Mr. Dickinson couldn't hold his place as financial leader for the PLP, I can't see them bringing him in as the leader of the party. But what makes you think he couldn't hold his own as the finance leader? He actually done, based on what's been shared publicly, he done the respectable thing and resigned because he didn't agree with the direction. So he disagreed with the premier, who was his boss, right? And he resigned. Let's be honest. 90%, if not more, of the people tuned into this show right now go to jobs every day where they disagree fundamentally with the direction their company is going or their boss, but they stay in those jobs because those people have to pay bills, right? Curtis Dickinson walked away, which is probably what we all should do, but we just don't have the ability to do that. I'm just going based on what's been made public. We've got Polly Rich says, is there really anyone worthy? Ooh, well, ouch. That I think that's a valid question, because at the end of the day, the person that becomes leader of the PLP in turn becomes the premier. And they should be worthy candidates or people that Bermudians trust to lead them. Yeah? What are your thoughts, audience? Again, we're speaking about Curtis Dickinson, according to TNN. Curtis Dickinson threw his hat in the ring for party leadership. Premier David Burt has stated for years now that he would be stepping down as premier in 2026 at the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party's delegate conference, which will create a leadership contest. 2 names have now thrown their hat in. 2 people have now thrown their names, their hat. You know what I mean. Throwing their names in the ring, right, in the hat. Jason Hayward, the current Minister of Economy and Labor, and former Finance Minister Curtis Dickinson. So right now, it's these 2 names, these 2 men who have put their names forward. At this time, we don't know if anyone else will be throwing their names in the hat, but at this time, it's these 2 individuals. And so what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? This is your country. This is the leadership in Bermuda, right? The country you live and love. What are your thoughts when Curtis Dickinson entered the race? Do you care? Does it matter to you? And also answer poll: 1 for Curtis Dickinson, 2 for Jason Hayward, 3 for someone else. Who would you choose as the next leader of the PLP? Currently, it's 100% for Curtis Dickinson. Interesting. Suzanne Ingham says the options are Dickinson, Jason, and Zan. Is that no? Zandy Silva, where upon Jason Hayward announcing his decision to challenge for party leadership, said he will not be running for leadership. So it's between Curtis Dickinson and Jason Hayward at this time. And Suzanne says Dickinson is my choice. He's the most sound out of them, in my opinion, she means. So she'll take Dickinson. Well, here's the challenge, folks, as I mentioned. 100% of you so far have said Curtis Dickinson. Why Curtis Dickinson? I'd like to know why. Suzanne just says he's the most sound. Why Curtis Dickinson? That's number 1. I can tell you why I would choose Curtis Dickinson, but I can also tell you why I would choose Jason Hayward. Trying to be neutral, but it's hard. And you know what Dr. King said about neutrality? I believe that Curtis Dickinson would give us something that the country probably needs, which is economic stability, based on personal conversations with him, based on public understanding of him, and based on his decision to step down as Minister of Finance. I think he would give us that economic stability. Jason Hayward, in my opinion, offers something where, at least from his experience, he understands the blue collar, average, non-IB sector Bermudian, which is the majority, right? My challenges with the Minister of Economy and Labor is there are too many people leaving Bermuda not seeing opportunities in the workforce. What would change if you were the premier? It's a challenge for me. This is a challenge because they are so different. They are so different. But if I looked at this without bias, if that's possible, I think the choice would be easier for me as an outsider. It's not close as an outsider. But in fairness, I need to see each person's platform. I don't want to base my vote, if I had one, on reputation. I need to clearly hear and see what your plan is for Bermuda. That's what I need to see. Unfortunately or fortunately, the person who's victorious will have to show their plan for the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party and Bermuda. Michael Daniels says, Mr. Dickinson, everyone spells his name differently. It's Dickinson, not Dickinson, like N. Dickinson or Dickerson. It's Dickinson, all right? Mr. Dickinson showed his ability as finance minister. He has not been in the forefront since. Suzanne Ingham says, Dickinson has a lot of experience. I think he can help level things for us. I think I truly do believe he can bring economic stability, man. I do. I think that's what Bermuda needs. I really do. I really, really do. An interesting one. Well, 100% of you have said Curtis Dickinson. 100% of you have said Curtis Dickinson is who you would consider as the next leader of the PLP. I am not surprised because that's the sentiment it was in 2022 from the general public, and that seems to be the sentiment of the general public in 2026. Unfortunately, the general public doesn't have a say. The delegates do. Sean Smith says, I believe Bermuda needs a steady hand at the helm. Mr. Dickinson displayed this when he was the finance minister. We've got Traveling Trotty says, I think Curtis would be honest and share where we are as a country. Teddy Breary says, I want a leader who prioritizes the country above all else. I am tired of party politics. The world has seen enough of it. And Kathy Sumner says, good morning. Yes, Mr. Dickinson all the way. Well, it seems like Mr. Dickinson definitely has the support of the public. He definitely seems to have the support of the public. How this translates to the party, that's another thing. Folks, this was your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Let's go and show some love to them. And then we will give you a days of the year. Stick with us.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks. Before we do days of the year, we've got Reese Johnston says, I think Curtis earned the public's respect by how he handled Morgan's point and decided to step down based on principle and integrity. Because of that, I think the public trusts him more. It might be less of what he is and more about what he is not. I appreciate that. Was it Morgan's point or Fairmont Southampton? I thought it was Fairmont Southampton, but your point's taken, Reese. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think your point is taken. I think it's a trust thing, and I think the public does trust him. He seems likable if you understand. Here's the thing with politics. I'll say this much because we've got to go to a break and get days of the year. We've got our very important guest coming out from SCARS. But here's the thing where we need to be careful as the electorate and the general public. It's almost a case of be careful what we ask for because we might just get it. What you're going to get with Curtis Dickinson is really raw. And when I say raw, it's going to be, he may have to do some things that will make us unhappy. And I think we should understand that those things may be in our best interest as a country. Don't say, oh, Curtis Dickinson, Curtis Dickinson, Curtis Dickinson, and then this man gets the opportunity that you wanted him to have, and then suddenly you turn against him. Not because he's changed, but because the things that he needs to do don't make you happy. I think we really, really need to ask questions. And I would encourage anyone who has an interest in the direction of Bermuda, come up with 3 or 4 questions that you would want answered by someone who is seeking to lead Bermuda. Just come up with 3 or 4. The most pressing questions for you. It could be personal to you. And decide who you believe is best based on how they respond to those questions. Let the questions reflect something like this. Ask them a question about the past to understand their character. Ask them a question about the present to understand, how they currently feel or what they currently believe. And ask them a question about their vision for the future to get an understanding of their plans. That key word, plan. That's what I'd encourage anyone who has an interest in Bermuda. Come up with 3 or 4 questions. Charles H. Jefferson II says he had overwhelming support of the public the last time, and we saw how that turned out indeed. Folks, days of the year, here we go. Well, we've got quite a few. It's a National Superhero Day. It's Global Pay It Forward Day. World Day for Safety and Health at Work. It's Kiss Your Mate Day. It is National Blueberry Pie Day. Great Poetry Reading Day. Poetry Break Day. Workers' Memorial Day. But it's also Clean Comedy Day. So I want to ask you all, let us know. Clean Comedy Day. Who is your favorite comedian right now? If you had to answer, who would you say is your favorite comedian right now? I don't know if I have a favorite. And he's the last comedian I saw. And it's weird because this is the longest I have not been to a comedy show since October. It's the longest in a while. But Country Wayne, he's a comedian from Georgia. He has skits all over the internet. He's probably up there, one of my favorites. Clean comedy, doesn't cuss, doesn't drink or smoke. He's a vegan, but he's hilarious. He's hilarious. So I would say Country Wayne. He's clean, but it doesn't have to be a clean comedian. Who's one of your favorite comedians right now? I have never been a big Dave Chappelle fan until over the last few years because he pushes boundaries, and I love that. I appreciate him. I do like Dion Cole. I really like his nonchalant comedy vibe. I like him. I've seen so many comedians over the last few years that I can't even remember names. I'm that guy who I go to the gym and I won't listen to music. I would actually listen to comedy sets. And I know people like, I'm out of breath, like working out and laughing and being out of breath is not easy. It's a workout in itself. And people probably like, what's wrong with this guy? But that's what I do. Comedy really, I know you all think I'm serious and I'm grumpy, but comedy is a thing. All right, who's your favorite comedian? We've got Sean Smiths says, currently I'm enjoying Nate Jackson. Okay. Angeline Butler says Cat Williams. We've got Emily Gail Dills says Marcus Wiley. All right. We've got Judith Welch says Godfrey C. Is it Demchima Jr. is hilarious. Okay. And we've got, okay. Keep it coming. Let us know who your favorite comedian is. Folks, we're going to take our first break. After this break, we'll come back and we've got our good friends from SCARS, Debbie Ray Rivers and Brenda Lee White on. This is a very important conversation. We're talking about teaching boundaries early. Yeah. Things that all of us should know. We'll be back in 3:17. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workbook for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carry Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
I know you want to come get some.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. We did ask you, before we went to break, your favorite comedian. And I failed. I said Countryman is my favorite Deion Cole. I forgot about my cousin. Our cousin. Bermuda's cousin. Mr. Photogenic. Clean comedy. Just hilarious. Big up to Mr. Photogenic. And we've also got, Suzanne says, our Bootsy. Yeah, I saw Bootsy earlier this year. Yeah. So we've got to give the Bermudian comedians Nadanja and what's the brother, man? White guy, he's hilarious. Jonathan somebody. He's hilarious, man. We've got Gina Davis. Ja. We've got a lot of good, funny. We've got Bobby Sumner. Who else? Name some Bermudian comedians, folks. I don't know them all, but yeah, I know you're thinking Jamal Hartman. No. Don't do that. All right, folks. We got our guest coming up. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to our very special guests, our friends from Scars. We've got Brenda Lee White and Debbie Ray Rivers. Give them that warm TDH welcome that you know how to do. Oops, that's not it. There you go. Ooh. Hey, ladies.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday to you. I gotta ask you before we jump into anything. Do you have a favorite comedian?
Nadanja.
That's Nadanja. Okay.
I cry just seeing his presence. Like he was born to make people laugh. He just makes the soul feel so happy, and I've told him that. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah, I think Nadanja made it okay for people to refer to him or anyone for being funny as a right fool. Like a fool. Like that wasn't to me, that was just rude before, but I'm like, this guy's just, he's hilarious. Just, yes. And this is how you know someone's funny. When you're having a general conversation, it could be serious, and you don't know if they're cracking a joke or not. Mm-hmm. Person. Come on, Brenda Lee. Give it to
yes, that is correct. That's Nadanja. That is Nadanja.
Yes. Yeah. All right. You know what that means, audience. He hasn't been on the show in about 4 or 5 years, so we've got to get him back on the show.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Fill somebody's spirit.
Indeed. And I'll tell you what, comedy, I was never into it. I only got into it probably about 2021. And when I say this is the longest period since before the pandemic that I haven't been to a comedy show, I mean, it was my getaway because I'm seen as a pretty serious person, but I'll tell you both. It's a great distraction from so many things that are going on in the world, and especially conversations like what we have on a regular basis. And not to say to ignore what's going on. It's a relief, and it's just a thing that can take your mind away, even for a small period, and just let loose. So I appreciate good comedy, but we're not here to talk about comedy. We're here for a very, very important conversation, as always, with you both. First off, on behalf of everyone in the audience, they love you all. They love you because of the information and the education that you continue to bring and the engagement. So thank you, and I'm going to continue thanking you, present or not, for trusting this platform to have these discussions. But today is a very important topic. And I guess, why is it critical to start teaching children about boundaries from a young age? Because the word boundaries, especially during the Me Too era, you kept hearing boundaries, right? I never heard it as a child. I never heard it as a young adult. But why is it so critical to start teaching children about boundaries from a young age?
Brenda Lee, you want to go ahead, or you want?
You can start, Debbie. You can start.
Okay, yeah. So boundaries are important because children will grow up to be adults, and they want to be respected, and they want to respect others. They want kindness. They want to respect others' no's, even as they grow through their adolescent years, is to be mindful of how other people feel and respect their no. Understand what's healthy, what's unhealthy, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. We can teach that young. That can follow children into their adulthood, and make us all safe adults and kind and caring and empathetic, compassionate adults.
Brenda Lee, you want to add to that?
Yeah, and kids knowing the boundaries will not just help them in their own homes. It helps them outside of home, whether it's church, school, youth serving organizations, with their siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, godparents, and their friends. So you must be able to teach them the boundaries, let them understand at an early age what those boundaries are.
Indeed. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. When we talk about boundaries, consent, and personal space, what does that actually look like, though? Like, especially in an age-appropriate way for children in different age groups.
Well, let's take a preschooler to the age of 8. You want them to know their body parts. Instead of calling their vagina, their Mary, their Susie, or anything else that's not their vagina, what does that tell an adult? I mean, we heard things like a child saying, well, my uncle touched my pocketbook. Or he touched my cupcake. Well, what color was your cupcake? What flavor was it? That's what adult is going to come back with. Meanwhile, that uncle, that friend, that peer, even a peer pressure, they touch their private parts. So we need to teach those ones the proper names of their private parts. Let them know you need to resist moving your clothing, and just act appropriate, that no one can touch them, no matter who they are.
Yeah. Anything to add on that, Debbie?
Yeah, so, that is really important what Brenda Lee said, and that needs to be taught early. I did not do that as a mother. I had a pet name for private body parts. That's what I was taught. And so it's generational. So we need to come out of the uncomfortableness of using pet names for private body parts. The other thing we need to help children with is, letting them know that their body is their own. And when they say no, that even as adults, when it comes to their body, we have to respect that. So, we've said it many times over the years, no forced hugging, no forced kissing, really respecting also other children's private body parts. We thought about this show because, SCARS receives calls all the time around, just supporting parents on some of these things. And, something as little as, not if a child says, I don't want you to watch me get dressed, or I want you to respect my private parts. We as adults should do that, unless they're small and they're going to be in an unsafe situation. But we need to start listening to children, because when we model that, then they know that that's okay when they're not with us. So if we say, okay, I won't give you a hug if you don't want one, we're saying when you're not with us, you can say no to somebody who might not have good intentions, right? We want to model the concepts of what privacy looks like. If you have children outside that, our kids go to after school programs and they're in school and they're in sporting organizations, it's teaching your child, you don't look at another child who's using the bathroom, right? Peeking under the stall. You don't slap another child on their buttocks. That could be offensive to another child. And you want to model these concepts of privacy so that they know when they're not in the home that this is respected outside the home as well. You want to help them understand the difference between a secret and a surprise. Yes. Surprises are fun. Secrets can be dangerous, even a small secret. So you want to teach them the difference, because perpetrators will use that word. This is our little secret. This is our little game. You don't tell anybody. So you're teaching them early on what's okay, what's not okay, what's healthy, what's unhealthy. It's never, and it let them know that it's okay to tell somebody when somebody breaks one of our body safety rules. It's okay to come and tell me, so that we can intervene early. But if that's not taught at home and modeled at home, your child may exhibit this behavior outside the home, because they're just copying what they think, especially if they're seeing that in the home. Boundaries being crossed, they're just copying that when they leave the home, and they're going to think that's acceptable and normal. And we as adults, we have to shepherd our little sheep, our little lambs. They're our little sheep. We have to teach them what's okay, what's not okay, and what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
Audience, keep your questions and comments coming. I'll get to them in a few. Let's talk about peer-on-peer harm. It's something many people don't fully understand. First off, just explain what it is, and how does early education help prevent these behaviors before they start?
Well, keep in mind, audience, that peer-on-peer, it's children exploring. And that doesn't mean it has to be of a sexual nature. It could be bullying. But this is stuff that we want to put out to parents, that you need to have the conversations and have them understand the body safety, respecting people's personal spaces. And this starts at 4. You teach them these things so they can be open to you and explain to you exactly what's going on in their little lives, right? Because you get in school, it could be a little girl touching a little boy, but that's something they may see at home with mommy and daddy. But mommy and daddy needs to teach them that this happens with adults in a marriage. Having those simple conversations, right? So they can understand in their language. And then the bullying comes, the hitting, the biting. These things happen at a very, very young age. And so we need to correct that behavior. And it starts at home.
Yeah. And we know that abuse is when one exerts power over the other, right? That's really what abuse is. One exerting power over another person. And so when it comes to peer-on-peer, when we talk about age, little children are naturally curious, okay? And so they're going to, show their private parts. That's all going to be normal. They may even be curious and want to touch another child's private parts. That's not abuse. Abuse is when you have had conversations with your children about boundaries and consent, and then they are not respecting that. They continue to do that. And that's not going to mean that they're an abuser. It means that something's going on. They're not respecting the other person's no. The other person's, as Brenda Lee said, the other person's private space. And so when you recognize there's a problem, it's when they're not respecting what you've taught them. We've asked you not to, touch another child's private parts, your cousin, your friend, your sibling. Because we know, it can start very young. If the behavior continues, it's a red flag to a parent to say something's going on. We've given them the body safety talk. We've not just one time either. It's a conversation that you start early and talk often, right? It's just not a one-time conversation. But let's find out what's going on. It could be you've talked to your children about body safety and boundaries and what's okay and what's not okay, what's healthy, what's not healthy. And then your child asks another child to send a naked image of them on their device. This is breaking the body safety rule. So now it's time to intervene and say, okay, let's find out what's going on. We're not putting children in prison. We're not thinking children are bad. Some of this stuff is just not, but let's find out why you're not respecting that other child's choices. Go ahead, Jamel.
Because you just made me think, and I ask you this pretty much every show, but I think it's important to ask because it's a reminder. But what are some signs that the parents, teachers, caregivers anyone who has coaches, right? What are some signs they should be aware of when it comes to unhealthy or concerning behaviors between children? And I'm talking about, the reason I mention coaches is because you may have someone coaching football or netball, and they may see and just, oh, that's regular behavior, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned behavior, Jamal. That's what we're looking for. All parents, guardians, coaches, you need to look for those changes in behavior. So as we teach in our course, it could be a young lady that loves baseball, but every time now that she has to go, she has a stomach ache. And that's not saying it was a sexual problem when she goes to play softball. It could be where she's bullied by her peers. And she's gone. What do parents say to this young lady? You know, is it something where they say, well, I paid for this, you need to go? Or, hey, I notice that when you go to play baseball and when it's time to go, your stomach hurts. Would you like to have a conversation? Be that parent that's willing to listen, and listen until it's uncomfortable. You got to listen. So you're teaching them the boundaries, but you also got to listen in return. It has to go both ways.
Yeah, so much good information. You know, another thing is if they're suddenly angry, they're lashing out at other children. They're lashing out at you. Something could be going on. It doesn't need to be sexual abuse, as Brenda Lee says. Time to start asking some questions. Maybe they're isolating. Maybe they're starting to cut themselves. Maybe they are not wanting to eat, and they're showing signs of some, you know, an eating disorder, maybe, or food is comfort. Maybe they're, you know, hiding, closing the door in their bedroom, don't want anybody to come in all the time. You know, they're feeling, or you have the idea that they have a secret. Parents know their kids. If you have a good relationship, you're going to know something isn't right. Something's up. Sadness, they could be feeling depressed. Suddenly they were happy, and then all of a sudden they're feeling sad all the time. You know, it could also be too perfect behavior, Jamal, because especially with children that are afraid of a perpetrator, somebody that's harming them or bullying them, they may be afraid to for this to be caught out because they've been threatened. So they're going to make their whole world be perfect. What the most important thing is to continue to have dialogue and build that trust with your child that they can come and tell you. The other thing that's super, super important is how we respond when we find out.
Yes.
That is our reaction, whether that is the parent, the guardian, the grandparent, the organization where something could have happened. Everybody must react responsibly when it comes to peer-on-peer abuse.
Yes.
So, you know, between infant and 4 years old, you know, children will be children, touching genitals, you know, interest in the bodies of others, maybe preferring not to wear clothing, exposing their private body parts to others. This is curious behavior. There's nothing abnormal with that. This is the age where we start teaching them what's okay and what's not okay, right? You know, they may want, when we see bullying, it may be wanting to hurt somebody, not respecting somebody's nose. I'm telling you, I heard a survivor story years ago, and I'm not sure if I've said it on this show, but I've said it before, where a girl was sexually violated by her older brother. And I've heard about sibling on sibling abuse. This does happen. And that's why parents really pay attention when you have have more than one child. Pay attention to those private moments, because it could start off with just hormones. Right? I've got this feeling, I need to take care of it. I'm going to do whatever I need to. But if nobody has talked to that child about what's okay, what's not okay, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, they may not know that something isn't okay. And so they need that guidance. Years ago, we weren't talking about sex. So you wouldn't even talk about a child touching their own private genitals. That would be disgusting in some people's minds, right? Years ago, it was disgusting. We got to go beyond that disgusting and go, okay, we got to get your mind off it. We don't want you, every time you're, stressed, you're going to do something to yourself, because that could turn into a something that they can't stop as they get older. Right. So it's teaching about, and this, if you are going to do this has to be done in private. You don't do this in front of others, but also not teaching them that is a place to go to every time they're stressed, because that may turn into a behavior that they can't stop. Or they'll make somebody else, have to take care of their needs. And so it's really just kind of balancing all of this. Sexual behavior can be in a way of acting out or anger. You might see a child open mouth kissing another child. They might be, as Brenda Lee said, copying the behavior, what they've seen in the home. Mm-hmm. And so we need to, really try to intervene quickly, let children know that, this is not what we do. When we do find out, everybody's got to react responsibly. Mm-hmm. Everybody, mm-hmm. even the organization.
And also look at signs, Jarrell. They must look at signs like the child having a sleepless night, their bedwetting. All of a sudden, they have money.
Because I want to ask you about that, though. That's literally where I was going. Is it's easy to say that the parents and caregivers, have to do something or should do something or should recognize signs. But is there a way that would be considered healthy, clear, and effective that works?
No shame, no judgment.
Yeah.
No shame, no judgment. That's so important to say, you can share this with me. I may not have all the answers, but let's find out what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. When they're little ones and they're crossing the boundary of another little one, we share with them, remember the body safety rules in the house. We don't touch another child's private body parts. We don't ask somebody to show us theirs. And having those conversations, what's going on with you? Why are you feeling that? Because you want to rule out that nothing's happening to that child either. And they're not just copying the behavior, right? Don't make a child think that they're bad, because even if you find out your child's done something to another child, that child needs some guidance. And so you want to let the child know, I understand what you did, but let's talk about what that made that other person feel like. They didn't feel like they had privacy.
And also, what could you have done differently? We know it's wrong for what you've done, but parents ask the questions. What made you do it? How could you have handled the situation better? And how are we going to correct it? So it all starts at home and having that relationship where the child feels comfortable and warm and knows that I can go to mommy and daddy, or mommy and daddy says, I have a secure person that I can go and talk to if I feel I can't talk to them first. And that secure person must also tell that child, yes, but what you share with me, I must share with your parents. So we all have the understanding and we all find out what's going on with the child. Because the child's the one that's important.
Well, let's go to the audience. We've got a couple of questions here. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, is a child who was molested more likely to molest when they get older? If so, how can we break the cycle?
I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I have never had a thought or a sexual thought towards a child. So not everybody who was molested will go on to molest. But we have heard many times that those who do were molested themselves. They were sexually abused themselves. And so this is why it's very important to find out this behavior early, to intervene early, to say, just because somebody has hurt you, that doesn't mean you hurt others. Let's figure out a healthy way of dealing with what happened to you as a child. But if a child doesn't reveal that, the adults in that child's life are not going to know that. Or if they did reveal and the adults in their life did not react responsibly, that may cause a child to be angry, to make somebody hurt somebody else. Nobody believed me. People are going to have to suffer the way I suffered. Nobody believed me. It's really, that's why intervention early is so important, Jamal. It's so important to get that children are able to come and share what's going on, the things that hurt, the things that make them sad, the people that are hurting them. They need to know that early on.
But I guess, let me take that same question and ask, is a person who is guilty of molesting, what are the chances that they were molested too?
I would say high, but this stuff is so secret. It's hard to get survivors to talk publicly about this. That information would come from some place like Westgate. They could get that information. How many of your clients who were convicted of sexually abusing children were sexually abused themselves? The only way we're going to know those numbers is by child molesters being honest about their own pain. I don't know if there's a gene that identifies a child molester, but I would say there's been pain in that person's life in their childhood, but only the people that are treating them would know that, and giving them tools on how to deal with why they're doing what they're doing,
and why they're feeling the way they feel, to act it out. So that's more psychological, and it's for the experts in that field to pull that information out, so we can deal with it in a better way. Whether that's getting help for the person, guiding people to say, if this happens, this is what you need to do. Because we all have to remember, when these incidents happen, it's traumatizing. And so in trauma, the person that had to deal with it is traumatized. Their family and friends are also traumatized. They need to learn how to listen to them, how they're going to react, how they're going to talk to them, and what advice they're going to give them to get help.
Yeah, and can I say, and that's really a good point, Brenda Lee. And if your audience knows anything about the adverse childhood effects study, many times I would say people who have abused other people, it's more than just them being sexually molested. It could be a lack of love in their home. It could be they didn't have nurturing. Maybe they had, an alcoholic parent, somebody who was on drugs. There's a lot of other things that would go into that, I think, into them violently hurting a little child. Because when you think about it, you just don't wake up at the age of 50 and start hurting innocent, voiceless children. I don't think it works that way. I think there might have been some behaviors when they were younger that adults didn't pick up on.
Manuela says some parents, guardians may believe that they are invading their child's privacy if they go through their phone. That phone may hold secrets too. Any thoughts on that?
Well, the phone does hold secrets. All these devices that we are using hold secrets. How many times do we allow children to go into their room and they're on their devices? Who are they talking to? Do you know? So if they're talking to anyone, that's like having a stranger in their room. So as parents, it's not a matter of invading their privacy. It's a matter of explaining to them, I'm doing this because I need to protect you. And you may not understand this now, but later you will understand as an adult why I did and am doing what I need to do to protect you, to live and go out in the world and make the right choices.
Indeed.
So there's boundaries that need to be set from the home first.
And build that trust with them. You can't just all of a sudden start having these restrictions, right? Before we give them the device. I love you. I know the dangers that are out there. I want to make sure you're protected. We're going to put safeguards on your device. Please know if you're gaming with somebody and somebody's making you feel uncomfortable, you can, when we've had this conversation on the show before, Jamel, you can come and share this with us. Nothing is off limits. Don't be afraid. No matter what anybody says to you, they're not going to hurt you. They're not going to threaten you, because many times children will receive something that's inappropriate and then they're scared to tell their parents, because and then they might get in trouble because they engaged something. Maybe they sent that naked image. And now the person's holding that against it. If you don't send me $100, I'm sending this picture out to other people. So then the child closes up, won't tell the people in their life, their guardians and their parents. And so then the secret goes, they keep that secret. They're not going to share that.
It goes deeper in their subconscious.
Yes.
Right? To the point sometimes the child forgets it even happens, because that's how deep they bury it. And then all of a sudden they're an adult and they react to things from something that's deep they held. So, we must build the relationships at home so the child can talk. And if you're irate and you become emotional, that child's not going to tell you, because they're going to be worrying about, how is my dad going to react if I tell him?
Yeah.
Because when he was driving down the road and somebody cut him off in the car, he got road rage and he went ballistic. I'm going to tell my mom that the minute she hears something about a friend that's going through marital problems, she gets all upset. How am I going to tell her about me?
Got you.
How am I going to do that? And feel comfortable. Now what we're having is a child being responsible for the parent when the parents need to be in control and look after the child. It's not that child's
I
responsibility.
never even, you know what? I don't know why I never considered that, but you are absolutely correct. If you're driving with your children every day and someone cuts you off, and every time they see how you react, it's this aggressive tone. They're not gonna. I'm an adult, and I shut down with people like that.
Correct.
Why? I was that person. Therapy helped with that, but seriously, like if somebody cut me off, the words came out and so on, and I'm just like, through therapy, it's like, you know what? I'm still alive. My car's still safe. I'm never going to see this person again. Cool. Whatever. But now when I'm with people and they react like that, I say this with love. I don't want to be around them anymore. And I'm speaking as a 40-plus-year-old adult. I don't like it, because what you're doing to me as a person is you're putting me in a situation where I feel like I have to have my dukes up.
Yes.
And as a child, I'm less likely to want to tell you because I'm telling you something and I feel like you're just going to get angry and stop listening to me. I never, thank you for sharing. No, seriously, I did not consider that until you guys, the way you break stuff down is, I really hope that the way I'm taking it in, people do take it in.
Right. And we're not saying that when things happen, you can't react.
Right.
Because reaction is healthy.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the tone.
Yeah.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
So again, it's your body language that if it's too negative, it's going to put children a step back.
Yeah.
Where
And I think the example I'm giving is if an adult like myself who can be pretty loud and obnoxious at times, you see it on the show, but if I can shut down and not want to communicate, imagine how a child, like we're talking 3-4 years old, will feel. And I think that's something, if nothing else, audience, take that into consideration. Before you both head out, SCARS has so many resources and ways to support families, schools, and the wider community to help protect children and promote healthy relationships. Just share with the audience what those are.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because that's one of the things that we really want to stress the importance of. Youth serving organizations who open their doors to children, thank you for all that you do. Parents need youth serving organizations. We need sports. We need church, for those that choose that. We need youth camps and clubs, schools. I think they're really for peer-on-peer abuse. Just make sure you have strong preventative policies in place and behavior policies. And then when something does happen at your organization, everybody's reaction is so important. So reacting responsibly to the child who crossed the boundary, reacting child to the peer that crossed the boundary, reacting responsibly to the peer that it happened to, helping children understand that what you did was not okay, but we still love you. This is for the parent. We still love you. We still care about you. But we just want to make sure that you understand what your behavior did. And maybe even think about taking a step forward and apologizing to the child that you crossed the boundary with. And the parents of the child who did cross the boundary, don't think your child's a bad child. Reacting responsibly to your child is just as important. And then say to your child, listen, it's okay. These things happen, but let's do something better. And let's think about apologizing to that child. Let's all react responsibly, because if a child who's been offended and from another peer, one peer against another peer, and people don't react responsibly in the life of the child who offended, that child who was offended is not going to want to go back to school. That child who was offended is not going to want to continue to stay on that team. But if everybody reacts responsibly and get everybody to do their part in saying, okay, this happened. Now, how are we going to deal with it? Let's make everybody understand what this made that child feel like and how can we make this situation better. Can I give you an example?
Sure.
I had a child who bit another child in nursery school. When my daughter came home, I said to her, you know, and it's probably the abuse in today's world, but I said to my daughter, that hurt this other little boy, what you did. Mommy's just going to show you. And I just put my teeth on her. I didn't draw blood. And she said, ow. And I said, that hurt, right? And I said, that's how this little boy felt. And I said, and she understood. And I said, now we're going to call the mommy and daddy and the little boy, and we're going to say sorry. And we did. She said sorry. Guess what? She never bit again. But I had to help her understand what it means when we cross the boundary of a child. And that was a physical, something physical, right? Because children will bite. But we have to intervene early. Don't laugh and think that's okay, because it's not okay. It hurt the other child. And it's okay to say sorry. And then change the behavior. That's the key.
So Jamal, we have a lot on our website, www.scarsbermuda.com. It's policies on there. It's good information for parents. It's reading materials that they can go to get information they may need, especially, you know, summertime's coming up. They want to put their kids in camps. Feel free to ask the camps, what is your policies? Look at our website, at our policies before you go, and see what needs to be in place to secure your child when they're not in your presence. Debbie mentioned earlier about the ACEs study. Please go online, look up the ACEs study and what it holds in there. We had a lady, Adrienne Simone, you know, she's the Mama Bear Effect. Go on her site, you know, it's the mamabeareffect.org. And you'll find information on teaching a child about body safety and boundaries, consent, and how early is consent. I always have a magnet. I mean, if you could see this, it's a magnet. And if you need it, visit that website that I just gave, the Mama Bear, and put this on your fridge for your little ones. You know, it states we use the correct names of body parts. No one is forced to hug, kiss, or touch. We don't look, touch, or play games. You know, it's those little things. When I say no, it'll stop, we listen.
Yeah. The resources are available. The website's public. So folks,
get trained. Get on
our website. Go to the icon and get trained. Sign up.
Thank you both so much. Thank you both so much. Wealth of information as usual. Appreciate these conversations. Until next time. One last thing.
Yes.
April is what?
Go ahead, Brenda Lee.
Go ahead, Debbie.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's good that we're identifying that, but every day is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we can have happy, healthy children, which equal happy, healthy adults.
Yes.
Indeed. Folks. The awareness doesn't stop on April 30th is the point. All right. Thank you both so much. We'll definitely be in touch, as in the words of Suzanne Ingham. Come back again, Debbie and Brandon. They will be back. Trust me. Thank you both. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well. Okay. Bye-bye.
Right. That's Debbie Ray Rivers and Brenda Lee White. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, if you're streaming with us, you know what to do. Give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure you share it with everyone you know. The information was important. They dropped some information that really, like, sometimes I go on the site, I look this up. I'm like, man, I didn't consider that. But it's so helpful. It's so helpful. And I'm going to say this, and this is not a cheeky shot at anyone. When it comes to the Daily Hour, whether it's SCARS, PALS, CURB, the Bermuda Police Service, HSBC, Peoples, regardless of who the guest is, I always say about this audience, this is why I think you're literally the most intelligent group in Bermuda. You could be somewhere bumping your head and dancing, but you choose to be here being educated and engaging about information that's actually going to improve your community, whether it's the safety and well-being of our young people, learning about the role we play in our economy and personal economics, our health, the state of the country itself. Trust me, turning down temporary entertainment for life-changing conversations shouldn't be taken lightly. We'll take our final break now. We'll be back and we'll wrap it up. Got a daily play for you as well.
When it comes to the safety and protection of our children, education is prevention, so get SCARS certified. But don't stop there. Intervene if you see someone making a child feel uncomfortable or fearful. Abusers like to exert power and fear over children. Be their voice. Keep communication open. No topic is off limits. But don't stop there. Your response to a disclosure could make or break a child's ability to heal and to thrive. Don't avoid, don't deny, don't minimize, don't blame, and don't shame. Visit scarsbermuda.com to learn more.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Folks, thanks again to Debbie Ray and Brenda Lee from SCARS for that important communication and engaging conversation this morning. Again, if you appreciated it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. There's no reason people should not have access to the information that they have shared today. It can save someone. Alrighty, folks. Thanks again to our partners, the BHC group of companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring we can do this with you on a regular basis. Folks, it's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? It's a remember when. Here we go. Excuse me. I'm allergic to my mic. Sorry. All right, folks, here we go. Remember when. Everyone knows the first political party to form in Bermuda was the Progressive Labor Party. The question this morning is, the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party was formed in what year? All right. Shawnette Sumner, 1963. One off, Mark Arthur. One off. Charles H. Jefferson II got it as well. 1963 is the correct answer. Yes, yes, yes. 1963 is correct. All right, folks. Well, Suzanne Ingham, I love it. She says early 60s. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, folks. I got to give you a daily inspiration and head out. Let's see. Let's see. I'm digging in the book of African American quotes. Let's see what I'm going to turn a page and no, we're not going to do her. We did her. Nope, we're not going to do her. We did her recent. Oh, I like this one. Paul Laurence Dunbar, a poet, writer, and lyricist, the first African American poet to garner a national audience. And this quote says, woo! In politics, we are all lambs, and the wolves are only to be found in the other party. End quote. Ooh. Do with that what you will. Interesting. Anyway, audience, you heard, I'm going to wrap it up by saying this. Haywood Dickinson, PLP, Bermuda. At the end of the day, I think Bermudians have one thing in common. They want someone who's going to improve Bermuda. The difference is what that looks like. That's where Bermudians differ. The challenge is that while the popular choice in the general public may be Curtis Dickinson, the seemingly popular choice within the party is the one who will lead. Maybe Mr. Dickinson has done the work since the last election. Only time will tell. But October 2026, we'll find out. As far as the conversation with Debbie Ray Rivers and Brenda Lee White, the information that's discussed with SCARS is too important for us to ignore. It's too important for us not to share and to carry conversations after they're done. My hope is that you all continue to engage throughout the community about things that impact us all. Only then, not the politics wise, but human and people wise, only then will we have a better, safer community for us all. Audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making this part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Izal. Peace.